And the most important one, the destroyer of vans and motorhomes and RVs everywhere,
is... Hi, my name's Joe.
And I'm Dummy. Welcome to The Wending Ways.
If this is the first time on our channel, then welcome. If you're a subscriber, then welcome back.
So in our last video, we talked about 10 reasons you might want to buy an older motorhome or campervan or RV. Today, we're going to talk about 10 bad things about old motorhomes.
Yeah, and make sure you stick around to the end, because one of these can leave your really expensive purchase being worth nothing more than pocket change. The first reason you might not want to consider an older van is basically a warranty. Newer vans will come with a full manufacturer's warranty, and sometimes that can be up to 10 years for damp. But older vans, especially if you're buying privately, they're not going to have any warranty at all. You do have some protection in the form of the Consumer Rights Act, but it's certainly not going to be as easy as just taking a van back to the garage.
Yeah, so we were worried about this too, which is why we chose to buy from a dealer. And they did give us a warranty, but it was nowhere near as good or extensive as with a new van, obviously. So this is a question you have to ask yourself. Are you willing to take a bit more of a risk there?
Yeah, it can be a bit of a risk. I mean, parts can be expensive, like this. Or even worse, this. Or in the worst case scenario, if you've got a particularly old van or a particularly rare van, parts might be non-existent.
Unavailable. They might still exist somewhere.
They exist, just not for you.
So our second reason not to get an older motorhome is reliability. Wait, didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, but there's an important difference here. Newer vans, the engines are going to be very, very reliable in the first place. You're not very likely to have any problems with reliability from the engine. Again, if you do, you've got a warranty. But I do kind of stand by what I said, that with a newer van, you're less likely to have any problems with the engine, but if you do, it could end up costing a lot more. With an older van, you're probably more likely to have problems, but they might be cheaper when you do have them.
Was reason number 3, Joe?
Features. Let me be clearer. I mean, kind of included features.
Yeah, that's a good point. One of my favorite points. For example, the rental van we hired.
Oh, it's so lovely.
It was a really new van. The heating and the hot water settings and the control panel was really cool and easy to use and clear. Just made sense to me. Okay, a lot more sense than this one does. You could hook it up to your Wi-Fi, so if you were out and about and it was really cold, you could just come back into the van and have a hot shower.
Which was awesome. Can we fit it into our van?
Well, I mean, you can. It's just that it's like really, it's like 40% of the value of our van.
Oh, so that's not going to happen then?
No, Joe, it's not going to happen. So anyway, there's also these little things that you take for granted. Well, we took for granted, like cup holders. We bought some drinks, we get into our van, and there are no cup holders. It hasn't occurred to us that that's a possibility. No. Or the lack of USB plugs in the have area. And in your van, you don't really have that problem.
No. Our next reason for vying with your new van.
Burger.
Yeah.
Check out Sorted. They're really cool.
They are. So our next reason for buying a newer van actually featured in our reasons to buy an old van video as well. It's the layout. You can see that our van has one central walkway. Our overcab bed is over the cab. At the back, we've got our rear bunk beds. And this kind of central passage design used to be really, really popular.
If you look at a newer van, first of all, you have so much more space and airiness about it because they have this drop-down bed up in the ceiling that you can just hide and put away when it's daytime and it doesn't take up any space.
You won't kind of find this new type of layout, especially with the drop-down beds in older vans. So if you really like it and you really want it, well, you're looking at a newer van.
Yeah. So this next reason is important as it can dictate where we can go in our van, and that is low emission zones.
Yeah, low emission zones are kind of becoming really popular in larger European cities, places like Berlin, Paris, Milan, London. They all have low emission zones, and basically they're just designed to kind of keep out older and more polluting vehicles, which includes older motorhomes.
And I mean, that is a good thing, but it's kind of sad for us old motorhome owners. So without any major and expensive changes, we just can't go into these cities, so we have to park outside and use the public transport.
Yep. We're now going to talk about an next reason, which is the driving. Old vans drive like, well, big old vans. They're slow, they're heavy, the controls are really heavy, and sometimes they're a lot of hard work.
That doesn't just influence the driver, it influences us too, because it was a lot less stress driving the newer van.
Why have you taken me this way?
Yeah, I mean, we're quite lucky. Our van has got power steering, but even so, sometimes driving through either city centres or even like small towns with lots of stop and start traffic is really hard work. The clutch is really heavy. The gearbox is really, really heavy. The steering does get heavy after a while. The brakes are awful. You get the picture. It can be a bit of a nightmare.
So basically, when you see these idyllic shots, old motorhomes driving into the distance, and there's like a sunset in front of them, then you don't realize how tired and miserable the driver is.
Driving the van leads nicely into safety.
Exactly. The same way that a car that is old doesn't have all the safety features that a newer one does, is the same here. So Brunhilde's 20 years old. She doesn't have any airbags, like none whatsoever. She doesn't have all the lane assist or departure warnings.
The safety equipment fitted on our van is brakes. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, we don't really have any.
We have seat belts. We
do have 6 3-point seat belts, which kind of for a van this age is pretty unusual. So we're really lucky there. But in terms of modern safety features, an older van is just not going to give you what you're after. So again, if safety, kind of the vehicle of the occupants, in terms of those types of features, is really important to you, a newer van is really your only go-to option. And while it's not really a safety thing, the same is also kind of true for aircon as well. Like cab aircon was really nice when it's 36 degrees outside. It was a godsend, and we don't have it.
No. And I mean, this is again a thing you don't think about, that a car or a van this old, no aircon, guys, not even in the cab area.
No.
So one of the biggest things that people look for when buying a motorhome is comfort.
We still love going camping. I mean, there is something romantic about being under canvas, especially if it's raining. I love it. But at the same time, I cannot deny that it's super nice, especially when it's like really cold, to just get out of bed and turn the heating on. It's really nice.
It is. It's so nice. But also, comfort applies to things like sofas. So our sofas are nowhere near as comfortable as the ones in newer vans.
No,
unfortunately.
No, I mean, some of it is material. So like this is quite simple. It's pretty hard wearing, but it's quite basic fabric. Newer vans have things like fake suede, sometimes real suede if you spend enough money, leather, or I think it's called the PL leather, pleather, the fake leathers, and it's just really, really nice. There is stuff you can do about it. So like our sofas, they've been re-cushioned and re-upholstered quite cheaply, but they have been done. You can do that to your van as well, but just be aware that it is going to cost some money.
Yeah. Okay, so our next reason is huge to some people, but unimportant to others.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we're talking about fuel efficiency.
Ours is terrible.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay, I actually checked because Joe has kept a log of Brunhilde's fuel consumption, and we actually do 12 liters per 100 kilometers, which is
about 12 liters per 100, which for UK.
Wait, and that is
good for it.
25 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's about 25 miles per gallon.
25 gallons per mile. Miles per gallon.
I hope not. That is how bad it is.
I was doing so well.
That's how bad it is. It is 25 gallons per mile, which isn't great by any means. I mean, it could be worse, but it's not great. What you've got to remember is that this is a 20-year-old vehicle with all the aerodynamic efficiency of a brick. More modern vans, kind of with more modern engines, more maybe slightly better aerodynamics, 30, maybe mid 30s, possibly maybe high 30s. We are never ever going to accomplish that. But again, you have to kind of decide how important this is to you. If you're just doing short weekend trips, it might not really matter that much. If you're planning on doing months of touring, just non-stop touring, then fuel efficiency can be a lot more important, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright guys, so we've looked at 9 reasons, and here is number 10. Or number 1, the most important one. The destroyer of vans and motorhomes and RVs everywhere
is
damp.
Yeah. Sounds so innocuous, doesn't it? I mean, we leave damp towels out all the time. Damp? What's the big deal? Well, let's take a look at some vans which have got some pretty serious damp problems. See on this one? The wooden panels are literally black with rot, all caused by damp. The wood is starting to rot away from the inside out. That could be your van.
So these pictures are from a couple of older vans that took major work and a lot of money to sort out.
Yeah, a lot of new van manufacturers will guarantee their vans against water ingress, some of them for up to 10 years. You might need to have it inspected by them annually, but that's still a lot of peace of mind in case the worst happens.
So we really can't stress how important this issue is. A new van can still have issues, but you do have a guarantee and a warranty to fall back on. So no such luck if you have damp problems in an older motorhome, unfortunately.
Especially if you bought it privately.
Oh yeah. So there you have it, guys. That's 10 bad things about buying an old motorhome and why you might want to consider buying a newer one.
We really hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has, please hit that like button and maybe think about hitting that subscribe button as well. That way you won't miss any of our future videos. But for now though, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye!